Did you know there are things about Social Security that most people over 60 never find out until it is already too late to act? Hello, I'm Daniel Whitmore. I've spent decades helping folks navigate the complexities of retirement income. And I can tell you this much. Most people leave thousands of dollars on the table because they simply don't understand how Social Security really works. Here's what I want you to understand. When you know the actual mechanics behind the system, when you see the numbers the way the system calculates them, you start to see opportunities. You start to realize that a single decision made today can cost you $50,000 or more over your lifetime in retirement. That's not an exaggeration. That's just math. And the best part is, you have more control over this than you think. Let me walk you through how this works. First, let's talk about where Social Security comes from. You've been paying into this system your entire working life through what we call FICA taxes, 6.2% of your wages, and your employer matches it. That's 12.4% of your income going into a fund that's supposed to take care of you later. Most people never think about this. They just see it disappear from their paycheck. But you're building something. You're building a promise. Now here's the critical part that the Social Security Administration doesn't emphasize enough. Your benefit is calculated based on your 35 highest earning years, adjusted for inflation. Think about that. 35 years. If you only work 32 years, they're going to count 3 zeros in your calculation. That alone can reduce your benefit by 10, 15, maybe even 20%. But if you worked 40 years, they take your 35 best years. That's important. Let me explain how the actual calculation works, because this is where it gets interesting. They take those 35 highest inflation-adjusted years, they average them, and then they apply what's called a bend point formula. This formula isn't something they broadcast. Most people have no idea it exists. Here's how it works. On the first amount of your average earnings, you get 90%. Then on the next chunk, you get 32%. And on the highest portion, you only get 15%. Why does that matter? Because it means the system is progressive. It favors people who earned less. But it also means that if you have 0 years mixed in there, you're losing out big time on that front portion where you'd get 90% of those earnings. Now, your full retirement age. That's the age at which you can claim your full benefit with no reduction. For most of you watching, that's 66 to 67, depending on exactly when you were born. If you were born in 1957, your full retirement age is 66 and 6 months. Born after 1960, it's 67. This is important because claiming before this age means a permanent reduction in your benefit. So let me give you the first actionable tip that will have the most impact on your lifetime benefit. Tip number 1. You need to fill those 35 years. If you're already past 60 and you haven't worked a full 35 years, it might be worth it to keep working, even part-time, for a few more years. Why? Because each year you add might push out a 0 from that calculation. Each 0 you remove could add 2, 3, maybe 5% to your benefit. Over a 20-year retirement, that compounds into real money. $10,000, $20,000, sometimes more. This is not glamorous. This is just the math of the system, but it's powerful. Tip number 2. Delay your claim if you possibly can. Here's a concept that Social Security doesn't scream from the rooftops. Delayed retirement credits. For every year you wait beyond your full retirement age, up until age 70, your benefit grows by 8% per year. That's 8%, compounded. If your full retirement age is 67 and you wait until 70, that's 3 years. 3 years of 8% adds up to 24% more in your monthly check for the rest of your life. Let me put that in real terms. Let's say your benefit at full retirement age would be $2,000 a month. If you claim at 67, you get $2,000 a month. If you wait until 70, you're looking at $2,480 a month. That's $480 more per month. That's nearly $6,000 a year, every year for the rest of your life. And if you live to 85, that's $90,000 in additional income. If you live to 90, that's $144,000 more. Most financial decisions don't come close to having that kind of impact. Now, this doesn't work for everyone. If you're struggling to pay rent, I'm not telling you to wait. But if you have other resources, if you have savings, if you have a pension, delaying is often the single best decision for your long-term security. Tip number 3, understand spousal benefits. This is where a lot of couples really miss out. If you were married for at least 10 years, even if you're divorced, you can claim a spousal benefit. Your ex-spouse doesn't even have to know. That might sound odd, but that's how the system works. You're entitled to up to 50% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit amount, even if they claimed early and reduced their own benefit. Here's the scenario. Your spouse worked for 40 years, had strong earnings, and has a full retirement age benefit of $3,000 a month. You worked 20 years, had lower earnings, and your own benefit at full retirement age is $1,000 a month. The rules allow you to claim 50% of your spouse's benefit, which would be $1,500, instead of your own $1,000. That's an extra $500 a month, just by understanding the rules. The caveat is timing and age. You have to be at least 62 to claim, and if you're trying to claim on an ex-spouse's record, some additional rules apply. But the point is, don't assume your benefit is simply your own. It might not be. Tip number 4, survivor benefits. This one hits different. If something were to happen to you, your spouse can receive up to 100% of your full retirement age benefit amount. Not 80%, not 70%. 100%. That's a floor. That's a guarantee. Your spouse won't lose income if you pass away, because the system is designed to protect surviving spouses. There are different rules for different ages and situations. A surviving spouse who is older might be eligible even if you haven't claimed yet. But the key is this. Your Social Security benefit is partly an insurance policy for your family. It's not just for you. That's why working those extra years, that's why delaying, that's why understanding spousal benefits. They all protect your family, not just your retirement. Now here's what I really want you to understand, and this is the wrap-up thought. These decisions don't happen in isolation. Your Social Security strategy has to coordinate with your other finances. If you have a pension, if you have significant savings, if you have rental income, all of that changes the equation. Some people are better off claiming early, even though the monthly amount is less, because they can let other assets grow. Others should delay, because they don't have other income to replace what they'd lose by waiting. But that's exactly why you need to think about this carefully. You need to look at your own situation. You need to pull your Social Security statement from their website. You need to see your actual estimated benefit amounts. And then you need to ask yourself, based on my health, based on my family history, based on my other assets, what strategy actually serves me best? The worst thing you can do is react on impulse. The second worst thing is to do what your friend did. Everyone's situation is different, but when you take the time to understand the system, when you know what these 4 tips actually mean for your numbers, you're in control. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're making an informed choice. That's the shift. That's the power. If this has helped you, I encourage you to share it with someone you care about. These decisions matter. They matter for decades, and they deserve your attention. I'm Daniel Whitmore. Thank you for being here.